said on the weather app 55 minutes before snow accumulates.
Probably looks so empty.
Trusting your instincts, realize that knowing looks different to each. When living authentic, do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential for life that is thriving. Go deep, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore.
It all started the night before we took Christmas down. It was the first weekend in January, and we were ready to hunker down and take it easy this month. Just cozy dinners in front of the fire and time spent together at home. The perfect way to start the year.
Moving performance, true self, all that's standing. Live free from worry, live by just being. Power in finding your wholeness in now. Go deep, mute out the chatter.
I'm really not feeling great. I'm hoping that if I get some sleep tonight, I'll feel better tomorrow. I was awake for half the night, and so I feel just really tired today. And I've had a really scratchy throat. I just feel really run down. I'm having a bit of an early night. It's the last night that we are going to have all the Christmas decorations up. The last night we'll have our Christmas tree in our room. But in more exciting news, it is meant to snow tomorrow, which I'm hoping it will be a fair amount, but who really knows? The whole of the UK has got like a weather warning. It says heavy snow, but because it's talking about the whole of the UK, I don't think it's really reflective necessarily exactly where we are. I think the north of England is meant to get more than us. We'll see. It's in effect from lunchtime tomorrow, Saturday, until midnight on Sunday. But just as cloudy and chilly for tomorrow on my weather app, so and periods of rain in the evening, so I'm worried that I've got my hopes up for nothing.
Saturday morning began with hot coffee and breakfast sandwiches. James stocked the log basket, ready for our fire. At the weekends in winter, we usually have them roaring all day, spitting and splattering in and amongst the smoky clouds that waft up the chimneys. It was time to pack away the festivities and make way for some new winter decor to keep us going through these darker months.
We really need to fix this spindle up here.
Yeah, I know.
Because I was, when I was doing this garland, I was like, oh my god, that's actually really dangerous. And I shouldn't be walking with scissors like that. Bye-bye.
Will you keep those?
No.
They're going to bin.
They'll go
Mouldy.
They might not, but I would think they would. I think it's the kind of thing you do every year, basically, if you're going to do it.
Basically, taking the ones out the back.
Yeah.
Because they're, well, I have been taking some of the ones out the back because they've been a bit drier. Or the ones at the front, yeah. But then I realised that as you're taking them down, you're then like, well, you want to take the ones at the back because you want it all to come down at the same level, otherwise you're going to end up with them all falling over on top of you.
All holes in my wall.
I don't know, what's that from?
I think it's just from over the years.
Yes.
I think it's like pulling the ends.
Yeah.
I always remember my presents used to always get stuck.
Yeah.
In the.
I had a green
and
one
that
there.
and that to me is like really nostalgic.
Push this out of the way as well.
Set on the weather app 55 minutes before snow accumulates, but then whenever I look at the app, it just says rain. It's like,
does this mouse go as well?
the little mouse goes.
And the toadstool?
No, the toadstool stays. Because toadstool is autumn winter season. You put some of these things on here first and then I'll
You don't need to help you.
yeah, please. Oh. Oh, I love this little cat. What do we do with cards? Do they go in recycling or?
Yeah.
If you think I can't see what you're doing, I can.
I wonder if the logs damp.
Could it be just that they're really cold? I don't know whether that's a thing.
Yeah, could be.
Hiding away. This tree is so good. And do you know what? It's still in really good nick as well.
I think it's because we watered it. And I turned this rack down, didn't I?
Yeah, but I haven't watered it since before
Christmas.
So, yes, we did water it, but I do question our watering now. Have we got any? Ah!
What have you just done there?
Just headbutted the window! This bit!
That's a window.
It's like...
Watch out for the window.
Yes.
It creeps up fast on you.
Shut up! Can't believe I did that.
Whilst I do this.
Yeah. Let me get to it.
Yeah, you can just hold it, that's awesome. Cheers, dude. I can just slip right on.
Oh, it looks so empty.
Yeah, why not? Give it to me and I can just take that and then I can have to walk through your house. Would you better pass me the bus to my bus?
Yeah. The dining room tree was shipped back outside too, and I decided to give it a new lease of life with a prime position in the garden and twinkly lights in anticipation of the supposed snowstorm. And finally, at 8 o'clock, the flakes began to fall. I mean, it's very wet snow.
I think that's more rain or hail.
No, it said it was a mix of snow and rain and ice. No, it's definitely white. It's very wet. There is literally no chance of this sticking. It's not quite the storm that I was hoping for, but I'll take it. And as quick as it began, it was gone by the morning, replaced by gale force winds and rain that was coming at the house sideways. I went back to work today. I was sick both Monday and Tuesday, so today was my first day back working, and it does not disappoint because I think we're finally getting the snowstorm that we were promised on Saturday. And whilst it didn't look like much, I had misguided high hopes with predictions of a much heavier snowfall than the weekend before. I think it is still snowing, but it's just like really wet snow. Maybe more like sleet. Boo. But the disappointing show of flakes did linger, as temperatures dropped to -5 over the following days, capturing the beauty of a frozen England, glistening in the sunlight, but never warm enough to melt. And before long, it was the weekend again, and we were cozying by the fires with coffee and breakfast once more. We've come up to the top floor of our house. So we live in a 3-storey semi-detached Victorian villa, and this is the very top floor. There are 2 bedrooms up here, and actually when we first moved into this house in 2019, James and I lived in this bedroom for the first 3 years that we lived here, just whilst we did other rooms in the house and before we got round to doing our bedroom just below this. But I wanted to bring you up here to show you a bit of a new addition, which is the fireplace. One of the things that is really prevalent in our house during the winter time are the use of our fireplaces, particularly our living room fireplace. It was really important to me when we moved into an older house that there were kind of original features, or the ability to put some of those features back in place. We are really lucky to have both a fireplace in our living room and our dining room, and they both get such a lot of use, particularly at this time of year. But I really wanted to open up as many as I could throughout the rest of the house. All of them otherwise have been completely closed off. We have not been able to do it in our bedroom, and we haven't done it in the room across the hall, which is kind of James's office come another spare bedroom, but I wanted to do it in this room. So this room is going to be kind of our main spare bedroom moving forwards as soon as we've decorated it. It's a bit of a dumping zone since James and I moved out of it a couple of years ago, and I really wanted to open up the fireplace. So back in the autumn we did that. It was one of the first things that we did to kind of embark on this attic bedroom renovation, and I think we thought we would have got a lot further with this room in that time, and we really haven't. We've done literally nothing else, and that's kind of on me. But the one thing we have done is have a fireplace put back. So we worked with an amazing company, family run, incredibly knowledgeable, based in South London, called Ward Antique Fireplaces, and they came and restored our living room fireplace last year. That fireplace, we had the original Victorian marble surround, but it had a very 60s insert. The original cast iron tiled insert had been ripped out, and we know it was tiled because our neighbours have a tiled one, and also we found some of the broken tiles
as rubble behind the fireplace when it was originally removed to kind of be restored. And so we went to their warehouse and we picked out an amazing cast iron insert. We didn't go for a tiled version in the end, and we had that refitted, and it is just the most stunning fireplace. I couldn't love it anymore. It is my favourite one in the house. And then we have a beautiful cast iron fireplace in the dining room, which is 100% original. Every single component of it is original, and we had that quoted to be restored back when we were doing our marble surround, but the marble surround one was just such a lot of money that we decided to hold off on doing the dining room fireplace. So then in the autumn, when we opened up this fireplace, there was nothing here, just the hole. We decided that we would have an old but new fireplace put in here, and we would also have the dining room fireplace restored at the same time. The reason we needed the dining room fireplace restored is because it actually had been removed previously and put back in, and it had been raised onto a raised hearth, which I didn't really like. It was a brick hearth that had been painted in black and then had black tiles on top, which had broken. There was lots of chip in the paintwork of the cast iron fireplace, but otherwise was in kind of good condition, the actual fireplace. But it had been fitted back into the wall incorrectly, so it wasn't embedded in the wall like it should have been. So it was actually a carbon monoxide hazard. We didn't realise that at the time, and actually when they came to rip it out back in early December, they were shaking it in the wall, so that was how loose it was. It was just like moving around, which we just hadn't realised. So they took that one out, they took it away, they sandblasted it, they refinished it in a matte black paint, and they came back and refitted it slightly lower and with a slate hearth. So that's gone back in. It doesn't look obviously wildly different to what it looked like before. Obviously we can see the differences because we know kind of how chipped some of the paint was on the mantelpiece and stuff like that, but it probably doesn't look wildly different. But it's been really, really lovingly restored, and we're really pleased to have that back in, and that it's properly fitted so that we can use it, and that it's on just such a nicer kind of hearth as well. But then the other thing we wanted to do was to fit a fireplace up here. So we went to their warehouse to pick out an old fireplace that we could have restored and then put back. And to be honest, in this room there would have only been quite a small fireplace. I've looked at some of my neighbours' pictures, and some of them have very, very small. Next door is bigger than some of the others, so I think ours would have been bigger than those as well. So they wouldn't have been quite as small as I had maybe thought it might have been, but it wouldn't have been as big as this. I possibly have made a mistake with this, but it's a mistake I'm going to live with now, obviously. Too late. Love the fireplace I've picked out. Basically when I went there they said I could pick something bigger, and we decided to go down that route because part of the reason is not just the way things look and the appeal of kind of having a fireplace back in this room, it's also a practical reason. This is going to be my office as well. I work from home full time, and in these winter months our house can be really, really cold during the day if you've got the heating off. And if you're trying to kind of be a little bit cost conscious and what have you, you might not want to put the heating on, but it's kind of a little bit too cold to do that. So my thought was that actually instead I could be up here, which would be warmer anyway than down on the ground floor, and then also could have a fire instead. So we wanted something bigger because a lot of the fireplaces that would have originally been in a room like this would be quite small. You couldn't really get a decent fire going in it. They're really made for coal mostly. And actually both the guy that was showing us around the warehouse as well as James's mum, I think it was, both of them said that originally how those fireplaces would have been used was not to kind of start a fire in them. It would have been that at the end of the evening when you were going to bed, you would take some of the hot coals from the fireplaces down on the ground floor and you would bring them up and just put them in here, and it would just be a case of helping to heat the room but not to have an actual live fire going, and you would never kind of start a fire in here.
So that was why we went bigger, because we wanted it to be that I could start a fire. We wanted to use logs. We don't really like using coals. We never really have a huge amount of success with it, especially the smokeless coals that you now have to use. So we wanted something bigger, and there were a couple of fireplaces I liked. One was smaller than this, and perhaps in retrospect I should have gone down that route, but regardless, we are where we are. It is a lot bigger maybe than I had quite appreciated, and I think mostly the thing that I'm going to have to get used to the most is that the actual surround that they have built for us, which is like a wooden surround, it's been primed so it's ready to be painted once we paint the rest of the room. That is quite chunky, it's quite off the wall, because whilst this fits in the wall, it has to be slightly off of it, so it just means that the surround has had to be thicker, and I think maybe I hadn't fully appreciated that, and if I had, I would have probably chosen differently. I know I would have chosen differently, to be fair, but we are where we are. But again, we've got another slate hearth down here, and one of the things I loved about it is that it has the royal coat of arms on what they call a damper, which is basically this thing that you can open it up to have the fire, or you can have it closed to basically not let the draft in.